Welcome into Outkick the Show. I am your fearless leader, Clay Travis, officially back from Miami, where it was a wild time, wild week, busy times. I'm not sure if there's anybody else in the country, I think the answer is no, that did 5 straight days of 3-hour daily radio, and then also did 6 straight days of 1-hour daily television. Incredible time. Props to everybody at Fox Sports who put on a fantastic Super Bowl that was watched by over 100 million people. Props to all of you who consumed our content during the week. A lot going on. I'm excited to be back home in Nashville, but it was an incredible time. And I want to start off, you know I'm not the kind of guy to brag or draw attention to himself. But in the final football game of the regular year, NFL or college, the Super Bowl, when everybody comes to pay attention, when everybody is watching, your boy went 5-0 in all of his big bets. Let me repeat that, 5-0. 1 on the Chiefs, 1 on the under, 1 on Nick Bosa over in sacks, 1 on Jimmy G on the under total yards, 1 on Patrick Mahomes on the under for total touchdowns. Respect the picks. 5-0, 5-0, 5-0, a big-time win. It was nice to get off to a big-time roll, all right? So that in and of itself felt pretty phenomenal. A couple of other things that are out there that I think are worth noting. We also, as a radio program, if you didn't hear it this morning, had a big-time win on the Shakira first song, which was whatever it was, and the first song for J-Lo, which was Jenny from the Block. So we won all of those. Just a massive win all around. Appreciate all of you who hopped on, and hopefully I made all of you a substantial sum of money, because in addition to having fun, the goal is to go out there and completely dominate when it comes to gambling. So that is where we started, all right? Couple of other things that I want to hit off the top. We've got Lock It In on later. I'll be your king. Important to be the king on the biggest and best day imaginable. Congratulations to Kansas City, to the Chiefs. After 50 years, you won your Super Bowl, and I think this is, frankly, the first in a very long line of wins that the Chiefs are going to have, because I believe that Patrick Mahomes is the modern-day incarnation of Tom Brady, and I think, unlike Tom Brady, he does not have an easy and natural rival in the AFC right now. There is no Peyton Manning to combat him for the overall crown of the AFC right now, and I think that is very substantial in terms of his long-range success. Guy's 24 years old, became the youngest to ever win a Super Bowl and also become Super Bowl MVP. I believe he is going to be stacking up Super Bowl trips like crazy. Winning your first one at this young of an age is a big deal because it takes the burden off of you, officially makes you a made man. I'm not a believer in Lamar Jackson's long-term trajectory. Never has been a mobile quarterback who lasted very long in the league. I'm not a believer that Deshaun Watson is anywhere near as good. I don't believe in Josh Allen. I don't believe in Baker Mayfield. I don't believe in Sam Darnold. I don't believe in any of those guys as being remotely the equivalent of what Patrick Mahomes is going to be capable of. If you are a Chiefs fan, I think you got at least 5 or 6 more trips to the Super Bowl because I see Patrick Mahomes dominating the AFC for years and years to come. Now, maybe, who knows? Maybe it's possible that Joe Burrow or Tua are going to get drafted by the Bengals and the Dolphins, respectively, and turn into big-name and big-time contenders. But when you consider his age, I just don't think there's anybody in the AFC who is going to step to him and be able to contend. And the Super Bowl is great because it requires big-time players to make big-time plays. And to me, the biggest play in this game, pretty straightforward. I'm sure it's the one that the 49ers would like to go back and redo all over again if they had the opportunity. How about 3rd and 15? Right after Kyle Shanahan gets the 2nd and 15 first down catch overturned, 3rd and 15, Tyreek Hill gets open all by himself, gains 40 plus. That was the game to me for the San Francisco 49ers. If they get a stop there on 3rd and 15, they take back over. The Chiefs are probably forced to punt. That was the game. That was the play that made this a game and gave the Chiefs an opportunity to go out and win it 20-10, 7 minutes remaining, 3rd and 15. It was an incredible play by a guy in Patrick Mahomes who I believe became a legend and became a star last night. Now, there are some concerns, and certainly this is one that will be debated a lot in the years ahead. What do you do if Patrick Mahomes is going to demand $40 million plus per year? That's an interesting question that certainly there will be a lot of debates about. And what I believe in the grand scheme of things, by the way, some guy wants to talk about Nike stock. By the way, if you want to talk about Nike stock, congratulations to Donald Trump. Nike has basically mirrored the stock market since Donald Trump became president. There's your answer. But the big question, I believe, for Patrick Mahomes in general is this. What is going to happen to Patrick Mahomes if he gets $40 million plus and the Chiefs aren't as good at managing the cap, at surrounding him with talent as already the New England Patriots have been over the last 16 or 17 years, while Tom Brady has always taken less than maximum dollars. That's why it was important to go ahead and get a title now. I'm not sure where this ends, but certainly it was a major attribute that he was able to get this right now, that Patrick Mahomes is able to notch his first ever title. I also feel good about Andy Reid. Andy Reid deserved this title at the age of 61. He was one of the 6 best coaches in the NFL right now, in my opinion. He was the only one of the 6 that didn't have a Super Bowl. Best 6 in no particular order: Belichick, Tomlin, Sean Payton, Pete Carroll, John Harbaugh, and Andy Reid. Andy Reid had not won a Super Bowl despite being in the league for as long as he has. Only been to one prior Super Bowl, the one with Donovan McNabb, where his Eagles lost. I believe that Andy Reid is going to now win multiple Super Bowls because he is fortunate enough to have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. It's hard not to root for this dude. Did you see his quote? It was an incredible quote. They asked Andy Reid what he had, whether he took the Lombardi trophy home with him, I think, at his morning press conference. I didn't spend the night with the trophy. I spent it with my trophy wife, said Andy Reid. How incredible of a line is that from Andy Reid? Again, I didn't spend the night with the trophy. I spent it with my trophy wife. I find these Kansas City Chiefs to be an incredibly likable team. I was rooting for Andy Reid. I was rooting for Patrick Mahomes. I'm happy for the city of Kansas City. Just asking them that they let my Titans win 1 or 2 AFC championships in the next 15 years, and let me just win 1 Super Bowl. I only want 1. I'd just like for my team to win 1. That's all. I don't want to waste my life rooting for a team that never wins a championship. So that is my only request. Flip side, with a winner comes a loser. And I think Jimmy G looked like what many of us, including myself, thought he was. A good player, not a great player. Good player, not a great player. When the San Francisco 49ers gave him the ball and they needed him to take them down the field and win, he couldn't do it. He missed Emmanuel Sanders on a throw that should have been a touchdown. You need to at least underthrow it at worst in that scenario on 3rd and 10 with about a minute and a half to go, because you might get a pass interference call like we saw Patrick Mahomes get with Travis Kelce earlier in that scenario. This was an opportunity for Jimmy G to answer all the critics, to prove that he was a big-time playmaker, and he couldn't do it. Could not do it at all, and in general, I believe that in the grand scheme of things, this is an indictment of Jimmy G. This San Francisco 49er team is stacked, but Jimmy G is just an okay quarterback. And just okay is typically not good enough when your team requires you to have any opportunities at all to actually be able to make plays down the stretch. So, I didn't like that. I thought the biggest indictment of Kyle Shanahan, I know a lot of people are talking about him giving up the 10-point lead and connecting it to the 28-3. My biggest issue with Kyle Shanahan in this game was the decision to take a knee effectively at the end of the first half. You get the ball back with around 2 minutes left, and it seemed to me like the San Francisco 49ers were content to go into the locker room tied up at 10. You get the ball to start the second half. You had 2 possessions that weren't going to be equaled by the Kansas City Chiefs. To me, you have to take a chance then. You have to go after, if you trust your quarterback at all, you have to go after the Chiefs. You have to challenge him. He ran the ball twice, finally threw it on third down. Then I think he got a bad break on probably the best throw of the night from Jimmy G to Kittle, where they called him for the offensive pass interference. You usually don't see that called. I think it's a 50-50 call. I thought that the Niners got a bad break there, but they waited too long to be aggressive on that drive. Even if they had completed that pass, they were going to have to call an immediate timeout and kick a field goal. They weren't going to have an opportunity to actually do anything more with it. That's my biggest issue with Kyle Shanahan. I don't really blame him for anything that happened in the second half. I think Patrick Mahomes just played an electric, extraordinary brand of football. All right, halftime shows. I loved Shakira, and I loved J-Lo. The stripper pole, the booty shaking, the entire performance, to me, was a perfect approximation of the soul and sound of South Florida and Latin America flavor. I loved everything about it. Now, I also loved everything about this Super Bowl in general. To me, this Super Bowl was a response to the woke community. It was the Super Bowl saying we're getting back to just putting on good old-fashioned fun. I thought the opening of the show with all of the greats from the NFL on the field from 100 years of football was spectacularly well done. I loved the open with the kid running with the football all through the country and connecting with all the different parts of the American football experience. I loved the halftime show. I thought that everything was, in general, bathed in Americana. And let me just say this. I think in America, we have lost the understanding of how exceptional our country is, and that people enjoy denigrating and tearing down America and American institutions. And I love our embrace of full-throated patriotism, of an extraordinary experience of being an American. And so I thought that this was an absolutely fantastic performance by Fox, putting everything back out there. It was the anti-woke Super Bowl. This was everything that you love. And I wrote a big piece on Outkick that I would encourage you to go check it out. And I think that you guys will love it. And if you do check it out, I think one of the things that you will learn is that woke sports is dying. Woke sports is dying because there never was much of an audience for it. But all you have to do is look at people like Jamel Hill and Deadspin. That brand is dying. The perpetually offended, everything is racist, America is awful crowd that has had a run thanks to Twitter is now all starting to die. And as a result, I think this is great. And a big part of it is the rise of sports gambling, because sports gamblers are capitalists. They're people trying to make money. They're not socialists. They're not communists. They're not people sitting around whining about things all day long. Sports is innately American because it has a winner and a loser. Everybody isn't equal in sports. We don't want equality in sports. We want people to be better than other people. If everybody was equal in sports, nobody would ever win. It would suck. We want excellence. We want talent. We want people who are better than others, right? Equality of opportunity is fine. equality of result is never going to exist in a capitalistic society because everybody doesn't have equal talents. And so, as a result, I absolutely loved everything about this Super Bowl. I thought it was fabulously well done. Hats off to Shakira. Hats off to J-Lo, climbing on the stripper poles, shaking their butts everywhere, giving us an incredible performance all around. Props to the NFL for absolutely nailing it and for over 100 million people coming out and watching. Good stat for you. More people watched the Super Bowl this year than voted in the 2016 election. The Super Bowl is more American than the presidential election. Let that sit on you for a little while and think about it, all right? Finally, the Iowa caucus is tonight. Bernie Sanders is going to win. It would be a tremendous upset if Bernie Sanders doesn't win the Iowa caucus tonight. I believe that in short order, Bernie will also win in New Hampshire, making him 2-0 to start. Then will come South Carolina, where I expect Joe Biden to win. Nevada, where Bernie and Biden will duke it out. Before long, there's only going to be 3 people who have a viable path to the Democratic nomination. It's going to be Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden, and thanks to the money that he's spending, Michael Bloomberg. The Democratic Party is going to be down to 3 75-year-old white men plus to go against Donald Trump, another 75-year-old white man plus. I don't know what this says about the Democrats. If that were the Republicans, they would say it means that they're racist. But I believe the best possible candidate that Donald Trump could run against, if you are a Republican, is Bernie Sanders. I think Trump would handle Bernie Sanders with ease. I think the toughest one is probably Joe Biden, although I also think Michael Bloomberg would be decent. Again, I like Trump's chances at re-election in 2020, but tonight we'll get the first opportunity to actually test out who's going to be the standard bearer for the Democratic Party. Big night coming is my prediction for Bernie Sanders. All right. I love all of you. Thanks for watching Outkick the Show, for listening to Outkick as well on the radio. I'll be on Lock It In wearing my crown in a half hour. I am Clay Travis. This is Outkick the Show. DBAP unless you need to SBAP. Congrats to the Kansas City Chiefs, to Patrick Mahomes, to Andy Reid, to everybody in the great city of Kansas City, which I, unlike Donald Trump, by the way, know is in Missouri and not in Kansas. Really funny tweet from Trump last night. Love all of you. I will see you on television in 30 minutes. DBAP unless you need to SBAP. Kisses. See y'all. Thank you, Facebook. Love y'all. See ya.